It's our pleasure now to introduce Mark Comer of the Royal Blue Collective. He's been with us before, and he's back with us. NIL and college sports appears to be here to stay, and so anytime there's a development with NIL, we like to bring Mark on the show because he's knee-deep in all of it, maybe waist-deep, maybe shoulder-deep. And, Mark, I know that you've had to wait a little bit on the live stream. We apologize for that. But we had David Lawrence on from Kansas painting the picture. And a lot of these guys that are going to go back there and try and win, certainly working with you in the Royal Blue Collective. First of all, good evening.
Hey, it's great to be here, and I enjoyed listening to that segment, so no problem.
I was wondering, I'm thinking, I hope Mark can actually hear and kind of get this preview for Kansas from their radio guy. Because I wasn't sure if you're in the you're like it's the waiting room, electronic green room that you were in, right?
Yes, I was in the waiting room, but had it on my phone because I wanted to hear what he was going to say. I was very interested.
Yeah, I'm glad that we didn't just have you sitting there and doing nothing. We apologize. We had some technical difficulties, and we're just catching up. So,
hey, the big news with NIL and the Royal Blue Collective is this mentoring program for the football team. Tell us what that is and how it's working.
It's working great, and it really is a vision that Kalani has had for years, where he really wanted every member on the roster, 1 through 123, to be taken care of at some level and be given the opportunities that you should be able to take advantage of while you're an athlete at BYU, right? Being mentored, being plugged into different networks and different things that are really going to be helpful for these athletes to put together their plan B. Of course, for most of them, plan A is to get paid to play professionally, and about 1.6% will. And so this is something that we've been working on for a long time, and a lot of really great people and companies came together to make this happen.
So how does this differentiate BYU in the NIL game? Kalani's always said, hey, we're not just going to – if it just becomes a dollar arms race, we're not going to compete. And he hoped that it would become that. So how does this differentiate BYU, and how does this fit in now to the recruiting message that Kalani and his staff and what you can be part of take to families and potential athletes?
Well, I think it's really unique. We're the only school in the country or the only collective in the country that has done something like this. And with the Built Bar deal that happened a couple of years ago, that was a really big step forward because there were a lot of preferred walk-ons that had scholarship offers elsewhere that knew that they were going to come here and get that taken care of. And so that just starts to add depth to your roster, which obviously, you need, especially going into the Big 12. But the messaging of it is really important. It's I think a lot of times there's chemistry issues in locker rooms because some guys are getting something and a lot of guys aren't. And this really takes care of that. And all of the players, from your best player to number 123, all of them appreciate the opportunity to be helped financially, but also the mentoring program. We had 10 companies. And if you guys don't mind, I want to just read them all.
Sure.
Off
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
these guys stepped up. PAX, Mountain America Credit Union, NutriCost, Feastbox, Legally Mine, Octo Health, New Skin, Dane and Wendy Kimber, Quick Quack Car Wash, Casey Adams, Brent Bone, and Zions Bank. So they all came together and said, yes, we are not only willing to support the team financially, but we also are willing to mentor these athletes. So when this happened, every athlete was assigned a mentor. And there's also a great company, Ampellis, that does a lot of mental health and performance stuff. They're building this mentoring platform that's going to allow the mentors to kind of streamline this process. But what that does is, these recruits, these players talk. And a lot of these recruits that come in, they know, some of them played in the same league, some of them even on the same team. And so what's happened is it was received. I mean, the players were super grateful, super appreciative. And what that does now is that gives the coaching staff some more ammo when they go out there and say, look, we are putting kids into the NFL, which BYU is. We saw it last night. We see it every Sunday. Mm-hmm. But to be able to tap into one of the greatest business networks of any school in the country and most passionate donors and supporters, you're going to get stuff well beyond just financial support that can really put you on a career path as your plan B if you don't happen to make it in the NFL.
Mark, for players, I think they see green, but the parents are the ones seeing the vision. And I would imagine that this mentoring process that you've got going on is a home run with parents.
Absolute home run with parents. And I think you'd be surprised at what a home run it is with the players.
Yeah.
We were getting phone calls from some of the players asking about, what does establishing credit mean? What's an LLC and why do I have to set that up? Basic things that they don't have experience in yet, but really important things for them. And so it's been amazing and awesome how many of the players are really excited about this. And of course, the parents are extremely excited. But one other thing I want to mention is it's been interesting. We had a lot of kids come in through the transfer portal this year.
Yeah.
And it's about the culture. They want to be part of Kalani's culture. And it's not about the money. And I can say that, there are some athletes, it's like, hey, the first question is how much money am I going to get paid? And those probably aren't exactly the athletes that are going to be the best fit. We have some tremendous athletes that are being recruited right now that have committed to BYU, that are on the roster, that is a part of it. But it for most of them, that's not the number one thing.
When Keaton Sloven was on campus for his recruiting visit with his parents, Dave and I had a chance to talk to him. And we just said to him, what are you looking for? And I can tell you that NIL deal, he didn't even mention. He didn't even bring it up. He mentioned like 4 other things. And it started with a place where I fit in culturally. And then he said a place that's going to develop me and help me to become a better player so that I have an opportunity to play in the NFL. And he said a place that can develop me and help me be a better person. And like all of these things he talked about, not once, like Dave and I noticed as we walked away, not once did he say, oh yeah, I need to have a great NIL deal.
Yeah.
Didn't even mention that, right? And I'm pretty certain if he was just looking at pure dollars in his pocket, Keaton could have made more money going someplace else. But that wasn't the most important thing to him. And you were involved in all of that, Mark. I'm not missing the mark on this conversation, on that conversation, am I?
Not at all. Not at all. It was maybe it was 5th on the list or 6th on the list.
It had to be on the list, yeah.
And it is on the list. And that's why it's not just the mentoring program, which is awesome. There is a financial support. There is the things, because these athletes, they're practicing and they're going to school, and that's their life. They can't go out and can't get jobs. But with Keaton, it's amazing. He's been amazing to work with and very grateful for. And there have been a couple of the players that have been at other schools that have mentioned that they've been extremely happy about the team concept and, of course, about the culture. And Kalani really, to his core, wants to make sure that every kid on the roster has opportunity and is taken care of.
BYU's 3-0. They're in the game now. The Big 12 starts on Saturday. The hopes, dreams, and whatever's is now reality. And this is the first year. There's going to be a second year and a third year. We're visiting with Mark Comer from the Royal Blue Collective. How is the collective doing and in moving forward with getting bigger, better, and stronger? Are you positioned to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time. And as you guys know, we stay under the radar for the most part. I'm here on your show, but we really don't. We just kind of been keeping our heads down and working. We have some great people involved: Min Kim of NutriCost and Nathan Anderson of Mountain America, Lon Henderson, who's the co-chair, and many more. Wilford Clyde and Brian Hawkins, and we have a really great group of people that are tapping into their own networks and bringing new people to get them involved. And so it's been growing. There's been some great things happening with the men's basketball program, with the football program, and we have multiple other sports that we have donors that are more excited maybe about that sport than football or basketball. that are stepping up and doing some really incredible things that in football, the money in football and basketball is pretty crazy, around the country. And we feel like, we have really made a ton of progress and are doing some great things to be able to compete at the level we need to get those kids here at BYU. But there's a lot of these other sports that we're going to be in the top 5 of NIL support for these programs is anywhere in the country. And as you guys know, we have phenomenal Olympic sports. We have so many great sports programs. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's been a lot of work, and it's definitely a labor of love. We spend a lot of time and effort, but we all share a passion for BYU sports and winning, and we all share the same vision that BYU is a really unique place, and that it should be unique even when it comes to the NIL and the collectives and how we're doing things.
Hey, Mark, how can there's a lot of business leaders that you just mentioned, friends that that we know and are having a big impact. How can the average fan help in this effort?
Well, that's a great question, and we do get that a lot. You can go to royalcollective.org, and you can make a donation there, and you can actually specify what athlete or what sport you'd like to go like that to go to. And so there's a few things that we have that we're preparing right now that will be announced here in the next little while that are going to give other avenues for the fans to be able to support. And I'll tell you, we've gotten donations. We've probably gotten a few hundred donations from Cougar fans, aside from the corporations and the bigger donors that have been supporting it. And these athletes, when they're getting this support, just unbelievably grateful. I mean, some of them in tears because of the support they're getting, because everything's more expensive now. And these kids, they get a scholarship and they get a stipend, but they're really, really grateful. So every fan can get involved. You can go to our website, you can see our mission and vision and see what we're doing. And you can also email us if you're a company or a donor that would like to do some special things for different athletes. We're always obviously happy to help facilitate that as well.
We've got that email address in our live stream for everybody.
The link is up so that they can go to the website and check it out.
Hey, Mark, last question for you. What's the score going to be on Saturday?
Yeah, what's your prediction?
Well, the best thing, one of the greatest things other than the win about that game in Arkansas is, Arkansas is generally a top 20, 25 recruiting school, right? They get top 20, 25 athletes. So I think Kansas would be similar athleticism, right? Like we weren't overmatched athletically in that game on Saturday. And so going into a place that's going to be tough to play in, a better team probably than Arkansas, I think that was a huge confidence builder for the team. And so I'm going to say a couple of good defenses. We'll see how much they slow down the offenses. I'm going to say 27-21 BYU.
27.
Nice.
We're writing it down right here. 27-21.
Dave's holding you accountable, Mark.
Next week.
I hope I'm right. That was such an awesome up and down emotionally game on Saturday night. But boy, that was so awesome when we pulled that out.
One for the ages. That's great. Hey, keep up the good work, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Great to be with you, Mark. Hey, thanks, man.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on, and go Cougs.
Go Cougs. Mark Comer from the Royal Blue Collective, royalcollective.org, and you can get involved with the NIL situation, which isn't going away. And it sounds like BYU's got a pretty good handle on it, especially with mentoring and